And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East.
An entanglement?
Yes.
I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives.
Whoops, looks like Mr. Vance pronounced Israel wrong, am I right? Look, I'm only kidding. It's not going to be one of those kinds of videos, all right? But I'm not going to apologise either for making jokes, okay? I ain't visiting no Wailing Walls or, you know, the museum, the one museum tour where no questions are allowed at the end. I'm joking, all right? I'm kidding. Look, anyone who's been watching this channel for long enough will know that the Middle Eastern correspondent I am not. I've never been there, as Douglas Murray would rightly point out, and I never will go. But I do notice a bit of hypocrisy on both sides, okay? People are doing some real mental gymnastics at the moment to make their worldview fit into what they're seeing. And that's coming on both sides, it really is. And I won't have it, all right? We're going to get into that right now, okay?
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so let me be absolutely clear, just in case, God forbid, somebody accidentally misunderstands me in the comments, which happens from time to time. I'm not generally a big fan of bombing stuff, whether that's innocent, screaming civilians or the lovely and very expensive uranium enrichment plants in Iran, or super death dungeons in the mountains, depending on who you listen to, I guess. I don't think that's a good idea. I also happen to believe that it's a little bit naive of people, no matter how much you like Donald Trump and a load of other stuff that he's done. It's a little bit naive after 35 years of successive regime change wars in the Middle East and in Northern Africa to think that this time we're doing it different. This time it's going to be better, all right? And I really would like it to be better, but you know, maybe, just maybe, it will be, as they said, they're not going to try and change the regime. They're just going to bomb the super death dungeons in the mountains. I hope it's just that. And hold your horses, smart Alex, in the comments. Oh, you don't want regime change in Iran. Would you like to live under the Ayatollahs and all the women have to cover their hair? No, right? I don't want to live in Iran. I don't want to have Sharia law. But I've just noticed that every time the US and the UK go into these countries, they've always got brilliant reasons, but every time the result is the same. You destroy their countries, you make the lives of everyone who's living there worse, and then they decide to leave those countries and flood Europe. They come to the UK more often than not. You know, we saw that in Syria, we saw that in Iraq, we saw that in Afghanistan. There are 90 million people living in Iran. They're already scrambling for the exit. They seem to think something big is coming. Look, frankly, I would let them enrich their uranium a little bit more if it means they enrich us a little bit less. You know, I don't think we need an influx of millions of Iranians in the UK right now. Now, having said all that, I definitely don't want to be on the side of these guys.
And it's slow.
But let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Have we? Have you? I don't think even in my wildest nights out I ever did anything like that, Whoopi. But see, this is why you don't want to pick Team Iran, okay? They lump you in with the smooth brains like Whoopi Goldberg. How far back do people want to reach as well with these false equivalencies? Comparing Iran in 2025, where the state can prosecute you and put you to death for your sexual orientation. Comparing that to the US by saying, well, we used to tie people to cars. Who? When? What are you on about? Some mad hillbilly in the 1920s. I don't know what she's doing. How far back do you want to reach? You know? Oh, you should see some of my ancestors. They were large ape-like creatures. Fangs! They're vicious. So we're worse than Iran in many ways.
I'm sorry, but where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Keep hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Tehran or killed for
I'm sorry.
Well, they were like around. No, I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you,
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes,
it is up to them.
And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Not if you're black. Great point, Miles Davis. Look. God, I can't even be bothered. Oh, it's so exhausting. Not if you're black, right? It's worse to be black in the United States than it is to be a woman in Iran. I can't even be bothered.
For everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not anyone at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world.
Whoopi changed her mind.
But, yeah, I know that. And we all know that. But every day, we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood?
For running through the neighborhood? Look, I almost want to give people like Whoopi Goldberg the benefit of the doubt, because I think she's just been so separated, so detached from the real world. She's been a multimillionaire for so many decades now that is genuinely what she thinks the world is like. You know, that black kids are frolicking in fields as an evil fat sheriff picks them off from his porch. You know, she probably thinks that's really what is going on, you know. She probably wakes up screaming in the middle of the night, having like Sarah Connor-esque dreams. No, stop your frolic here. You know? She feels like the catcher in the rye. You know, she just wants to look after those frolicking black kids.
They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you, because that's not
women,
what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot property. They cannot leave States.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish them.
Nobody knows what's going on. You know, as much as we laugh at The View, this is kind of the level of conversation I hear in real life from people. So I kind of get why some people are still watching it.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent.
Good.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
There is a point to be made, I think, which Whoopi is failing to make as usual, which is that as disturbed and backward as we might think other countries are and the way they're run, it's not really our place to go in and bomb them into compliance with our Western ways. You know, I don't think that never seems to do any good. However, I don't think this is a point that needs to be made in this debate, because the US have said they don't want to change the regime there. That's not the reason they're going in, at least, officially. You know, they're going in officially to stop an enemy of the US from having nuclear capabilities, right? And, well, while I've been making this video, a ceasefire has been announced between Israel and Iran, so it sounds like, I mean, fingers crossed, this could have all been a bit of a storm in a teacup.
They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
No, let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a black person in this country, let's say, because I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
You see, Joy Behar gets it. The only way to fully comprehend what's going on in the Middle East is to first imagine that you are a black man. So let's just try that thought experiment right now, okay? Shit! I wish I was in Iran.
Just try to understand from their point of view. From that point of view, this country does not do them well. Does not go for them.
I completely acknowledge that. And we shouldn't compare atrocities.
If you're talking about Iran, of course, is doing worse things. But relatively speaking, it feels bad.
Okay, but I think you know that Iran is significantly worse.
I guess we're going to come back and talk.
I was in
we're going to come back and talk more about
this.
this.
No, Whoopi, I think we're done here. I've done enough thought experiments for one day. But speaking of thought experiments, here we have Cynthia Nixon's son. What's a Cynthia Nixon? Do you remember Sex and the City? Not Sex in the City, while Cynthia Nixon was in that. Here is her son, who's taken his particular thought experiment to the next level.
Fasting is, in times of calamity and disaster, is something that has history in the Jewish community. And actually, yesterday was a traditional Jewish fast day in memory of people who were killed in 17th century pogroms in Europe. That's the day we happen to choose to begin our hunger strike. As I am sitting here not having eaten for 36 hours, I am thinking about, I'm in a comfortable house not having eaten for 36 hours. What would it be like if I were living in a tent?
Wow. Yeah, imagine if he hadn't eaten for 36 hours and he was in a tent. I imagine he'd be in a tent and he'd be feeling slightly peckish. Though I have to say, he'd probably be feeling really good about himself, because 36 hours is about optimum intermittent fasting time. He'd have entered phagocytosis long before that point.
And sitting in the hot sun and not knowing when snipers were going to come for me or my children. I mean, it's even just experiencing a little taste of the what people in Gaza are having to live with. It really stretches the mind to be able to imagine. Yeah,
that is interesting, how doing something which is pretty healthy, pretty good for you, makes you realise what it's like to be in Gaza. I often do things like that. I'm walking through a nice green field now, but I'm imagining to myself that the floor is made of lava. Or sometimes I like to think the walls in Star Wars, the walls with the spikes, they're closing in on me. I'm like, no, this is shit. And then I guess I know what it's like to be Luke Skywalker.
And it makes me feel even more committed to doing everything I can to make our elected officials stop this, because it is in their power to stop the weapons.
Well, like mother, like son.
And to me, and what finally is happening to people all over this country and all over the world, but particularly this country, is we can't look away anymore. And I think really Sam reaching out to my wife, Christine, and I very early on and saying, as the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, this is hitting me particularly hard.
Wow, fascinating. What are the odds that a lesbian Hollywood couple would have a A trans son. But anyway, by the way, as well, can we please stop with, as the grandchild of Holocaust survivors? God damn, you're so boring. Stop living vicariously through your grandparents, all right? You're rich, you did well. They're Holocaust survivors. You know, it had a happy ending. Stop crying about it. Look, I'm just saying, you know, people need to get a life. Okay? You go and survive your own Holocaust and then tell us the story. It just makes me sick when people feel sorry for themselves and they're not even feeling sorry for themselves. They're feeling sorry for their fucking ancestors. Like, oh my God. I'll tell you what, all right, I'll prattle on about my grandma just for a few seconds here. My grandmother lost 7 brothers and sisters and her father in the same night from a Nazi air raid. And then she went on to fall in love with a German prisoner of war. She was engaged to a Nazi. Now, if that ain't a story of overcoming your differences, I don't know what is. Eat your heart out, boy in the striped pajamas, the fox and the hound. My point is, these self-serving weepy videos really get on my nerves. And it's not just by Hollywood celebrities. You get a whole load of narcissists all over TikTok and YouTube giving their hot takes on things. They're inevitably people who are so far separated either by time, geography, or social status from any of these problems that they're working themselves up into a guilt-driven, emotional reaction to these things where they're saying, imagine if you were in... Anyone who's got a normal functioning mind would understand, I think, that you don't want your children to be in harm's way. You don't want your homes to be bombed into oblivion. It's the worst thing you can imagine. Now, I don't know. If the US are supposed to be the custodians of the free world, I think they should be like a doctor, you know, the Hippocratic Oath. First, you must do no harm. But sometimes you have to make a little incision. And I don't know if that's what's going on in Iran. Obviously, we feel like this is Iraq all over again. It's Syria all over again. It's Libya. But maybe it's not. As I said, a ceasefire has been announced. If this small little nick with the scalpel has done anything, then who knows, maybe we can just get on with our summer and enjoy ourselves and stop worrying about World War III. And, everyone who's taking sides and picking teams and stuff, I think it's obvious. You don't want people being slaughtered, right? It's just bad for everyone. The people getting slaughtered, the people, who have to take all of the refugees into their country for some reason. And then you kind of think, well, yeah, maybe it is kind of our fault. Sometimes, a lot of the time, our government's fault. In Syria, in Iraq, in Afghanistan. Maybe those places were shitholes. Maybe they were terrible places to live for some of the people there, but they soon became terrible places to live for everyone there. And so they left in the millions. God knows.
And I am doing everything I can with the platform that I have, and I urge you to do everything you can. And I think my closest friend is also, her mother was in Auschwitz.
All right, Cynthia, that's enough prattling from you, I think. If you carry on much longer, you and your wife are going to be late for your adrenochrome boosters. Look, what would I say? Israel, Palestine, Iran. Can't they all just get along? I don't know. I think I've got a sneaky feeling everything's going to be just fine. At least in my neck of the woods, for now. Fingers crossed, eh? Hopefully things go well. Hopefully this time it's different. And nothing else. If you've enjoyed the video, give the video a like. Let me know what you think in the comments, but don't be annoying, all right? Ugh. What else? Follow me on X, follow me on Instagram if you want to know when I bring out a new video. That's the only way. Or follow me here on YouTube. Click the bell to know when I bring out a new video. That sometimes works. And oh yeah, if you want to help out with the channel even further and get some access to some exclusive videos that I make on Patreon, then the link is also in the description. And I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, what's going on here? What are you doing? Kookaburra fight. Now stop it. You guys need to make up. You be friends now. Okay, that's a lot better. Now you go over there, and you come with me. Crikey. Day's work involves putting out fires, stopping fights, playing with the gators, crocodiles, koalas, kangaroos. Oh, come on, bike.